Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for March 1st, 2020. With your hosts, Beastbreaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
It's Ghost. It's more Ghosts.
Yeah, that's about all that can be said.
It's Ghost that made me angry by the end.
I mean, it's Ghost that made me realize that actually this batch was the last that I saw of it.
Oh, this is
because I remembered the crossover.
So you stopped. So you stopped when Yamato showed up.
Because I think you might have said something about it, and I was like, well, I'll see that then, and that was it, kind of deal. Like, that was, yeah. I was done with the show by that point.
At this point, rewatching this, I don't fucking blame you.
I think even at the time you were like, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm gonna probably hold on to it for a few weeks and then drop it. I think that was what happened in the original run too.
Probably.
The only difference is I think you actually stayed till Mugen.
I stayed through Mugen and stopped somewhere past Mugen. I know I didn't watch to the end. And I'm aware of things at the end, but I didn't watch till the end. Because as far as I knew, Takeru's kid, he had that with a Kairi. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then by the V cinema, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Wait, who's this girl we're introducing that Takeru be friends? Wait a minute, she's the mother? Excuse me? What? You shared like 3 minutes of screen time and a thing that's not even your fucking movie. What? So yeah, there's things about Ghost I know about later that it's just like, But that is in the future. Now we're taking a look at the March batch of episodes 21 through 24.
Which, how are you? Oddly enough, when we got to the end, I was like, oh, so this is technically where Ichigo was supposed to fit in.
Yes, except time stamping means no.
Which
no,
is
the movie takes place in March. I think we're in like January at the moment. January or February, I think. I don't know.
I have to think that's chalked up to. I have to think that's chalked up to the fact of Ghost's staff decided that, after Boost, the rest of the series was going to take place in the second 99 days.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning time can't progress normally.
This is some time compressed ass bullshit going on.
And I think what happens is anything that even remotely tries to date stamp it post that kind of gets really screwed up.
Yep. So how are you feeling going into this?
Kinda meh.
Because the best way to describe
going into this, I was at the point where I originally said screw this show.
Because this is more or less a three-parter and then here is something completely different episode.
Yeah. It basically is a three-parter plus advertised for other show / movie.
Well, it's less an advertisement for the other show because Takeru showed up in the other show first because Sentai was first at this time period for superhero time. So technically, Takeru showed up in the episode first, and then Yamato showed up in this episode. On the same day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm. Don't mind me if I rant a little, because I'm probably gonna rant at some point in this episode.
Oh, I'm sure
About-
as going back through, I'll realize something dumb that they have done.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna kick things off with episode 21, Amazing, the Genma's World. So we started off with Makoto being like, hey, my body's in the other world, which means if they find it, which they know where it is anyway, so that's not a problem. But essentially, if someone stabs it, I'm dead for good. And, Tucker is worried about that. And Makoto isn't worried about that, I guess, because he has other business besides getting his body back.
Besides,
So
not dying.
Yeah. So that's happening. But we cut to the royal family as Not Sage is talking to the royal family about a new power that he wants the king to obtain, which is a thing we'll see later. I refuse to call him by the name he's given in the show because it's plainly obvious it's fucking Sage. Because, oh look, when Sage is not around, this asshat's over in the Genma world. When this asshat's not around, here's Sage. Oh, I wonder what the twist is. I wonder if we've telegraphed it enough so that everybody in row fucking Z can see this one coming. Fuck's sakes.
I seem to recall at this point in the show, though, I was saying the only way that they could get away with saying this isn't him would be to, manage to break it a little bit later. And I'm sure they never did.
No.
Because, it kind of is him.
Yeah, it legitimately is him. So yeah, the king, and I don't even remember his fucking name. It's just the king / Alan, Adele, and Alia's father. He's just like, humans are imperfect. Fuck them. We're superior in our fucking hellscape post-apocalyptic. Everybody needs to be in a goddamn pod to survive and have their souls be put in the Icon's world. Excuse me?
I do want to mention, technically, he's referred to as Emperor. Why?
It's flavor.
Why?
Flavor,
Why
really.
can't we just say he's king and be done with it?
It's for flavor. Meanwhile, we check in with Igor real quick as he's continuing his hostile takeover of Deep Connect and all that bullshit we're not getting into anytime fucking soon, so that just is here as a background shit. But he's gonna send off a Gamma, which I only know that this one is using Joan of Arc because I remember in a forum thread someone mentioned, oh yeah, it's Joan of Arc, and I'm like, okay. So the Genma using Joan of Arc's parka, I guess, is being sent after Takaru and Makoto. And she has Igor's sphere to suck up souls to use as bait to get them out to fight, which I don't see why you need to do that. You just need to go outside and just attempt to murder people, and I think that's enough to bring them out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we check in with Takaru.
Either that or, just randomly go around and pick up people's handbags because, they can't see you. Oh, wait. They can see this one. Why the show has to be so inconsistent on that's beyond me.
Because it's hard. It's hard to do all that choreography after a certain point.
Okay. I could maybe get that. Except for the fact that Sage and Urison are invisible to everyone else at a certain point in all of this madness.
Yes.
Like, I think it's actually at Grateful's debut, but still.
Yes, it is.
I Either do it all the way or drop it altogether. Don't stay in this gray zone.
But anyway, we check in with Takaru and crew. So Takaru is pondering the current state of matters, while the team fucks about with QB because comedy, I guess. I don't fucking care at this point. So that happens, but we cut back to Sage, or not Sage, as he and the king are reminiscing, because we cut all over the fucking place in this episode, and fuck me sideways, I hate it. Every fucking second of it. Fuck.
I feel like they cut back and forth so much to try to, remove the fact that they are not telling us anything.
More or less. So we go back over to the team, and they start to figure out a solution to get Takaru to the Genma world, because he wants to go to the Genma world, even though apparently he can't go to the Genma world, and I have a question about that when we get there. Also, this is when QB gets named. I've been calling him QB before this, but this is where he's officially dubbed QB because art, I guess. I don't remember, and I don't care.
I don't understand it, but oh
well. So we go over to Makoto as both he and kind of interspersing with Alan are pondering more or less their broken friendship. And like Kanon's here to like talk to Makoto for a little bit, but that's the gist of the scene. I skipped over the scene entirely because I'm just like, oh my god, there's so much shit in here. I just don't care. And it's just going nowhere. And it's more or less just, here is where everybody is at the moment. Anyway, back to the team. Akari manages to like intimidate QB into opening up a portal by not drawing an eye symbol, but just going, boom, there it is. Has been every other time we've seen them have to draw the eye thing.
Mm-hmm. But that's not the first time that it just is like poof there too.
Okay.
Because yeah.
Anyway, Tucker.
Later on, when it's actually successful, it kind of just poofs into existence.
Right. So Takaru transforms and tries to hop through the portal, but he bounces right off of it because he doesn't do the thing that we've seen that he needs to do to go into the portal. Which, can't he just go into his fucking Ore icon and go through it?
I don't actually know.
Because Ori is his icon and contains his soul, which is like all of the other Genma icons. So if he just did the thing that the Genma do, he can go through the portal. Right?
Unless it's a special icon that Sage, not Sage, does develop to where he can't do that?
Maybe, I don't fucking know.
Because, I mean, I say that because Makoto's Spectre icon is not actually his soul.
Right.
So, maybe it's something like that kind of deal? Where because Ore is actually his soul, he can't do that?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. That's the only logic I can think for why he don't.
Yeah. Anyway, the monks now drop by to be like, oh, by the way, there's a Genma attacking. You may want to go deal with that. So Takaru goes to fight it. And him and Makoto more or less get into a fair fight with this Genma after a while. Until Kanon just ends up going behind a pillar right where the Genma landed. And the two of them are going to charge up an attack. And they stop when they see Kanon. And then the Genma sees Kanon, and she approaches Kanon and is just like, I'm not going to hurt you. Well, I'm leaving. You've interrupted the fight. I'm leaving.
Because, all villains do not.
Yeah. Yeah, because she has a code of conduct, more or less, which I'm like, okay, that's different. Too bad we will never see you again past these 3 episodes. Well, actually 2 episodes, my bad. Of all the returning Genma, you're not one of them. Thanks. I want to see QB return again and again and again, and the fucking other Genma that returns. You? No, we can't have you return.
Not allowed.
And we head back to the Genma world. And Adele gets to talk to his dad for a hot second because his dad's in the prayer room doing the mumble jumble bullshit of praying to the big tablet things that have symbols on them that are conspicuously color coordinated to a certain other set of 15 other things. In case you haven't noticed.
And as you also pointed out there, have the exact same number as other things.
Yeah. I wonder what this could be. But Adele more or less gets told to fuck off because you're not supposed to be in here. This is a sacred place. You're not allowed here because you're an asshole, I guess. I don't know. We cut over to Igor as he's just like, oh, you didn't fucking do your job. Well, I'm going to brainwash you real quick to make you go do your job without your code of conduct problem. So go fucking do your job this time. Fuck's sakes. So this is when we head back over to the team. And they're discussing the Genma's actions, with Takaru thinking he can friend the Genma because, oh, look, she has a code of contact. Maybe I can friend her. He won't friend her. She's not lasting past these 2 episodes. We never see her again. But this is where Kairi more or less sciences a way to use QB's fucking art skills to make a portal. That's more or less it. Just science. Science says I can do this, so we're doing it. And this is where Makoto drops by to be like, hey, I'm leaving, and then he fucks off to the Genma world to do things that don't involve him getting his body back, apparently. Because it's the thing he does not do the entire time he's there. But back over with the Genma, Alan gets to talk to his dad and actually has a full conversation with him, and his dad more or less goes, hey, follow your heart. And it's more or less going, don't make the same mistakes I did, because, this isn't perfect, in case you haven't fucking noticed. I am still confused of just like, hey, we have this perfect world, and humans are imperfect, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm confused here. Do you not see what your outside world looks like?
It doesn't matter what the outside world looks like as long as you don't have war and death.
Yeah, about that when we get to it later.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, back over to the team. Kairi finagles a way to make a portal with QB and stuff. So Takaru has a second chance going through a portal, and nope, bounced off again. Damn. This is where Edison calls on him to more or less go, hey kid, think outside the box. Also, we get the best line of this fucking series of, I am Edison. I love, this will be repeated later. I remember this. This is like one of the real things that I really love about Ghost. It's just this dumb thing with Edison where he's just like, I am Edison in just English. And just as a note, I believe the same person voices all 15 of the icons when they do their whole like human armor form thing. That's the same person voicing all 15 of them.
Well then.
Yeah. Anyway, before Takaru can do something with the hint Edison give him, he has to go deal with the Genma again. But before we get to that, we have to check in with Alan, who's talking with Alia about stuff, and mainly she just wants to know how those kids that they adopted, which is Makoto and Kanon, are doing. That's all she cares about, apparently, in this conversation. And I love she's just like, how are they doing? Outside of the fact that you've tried to murder one of them. Anyway, we got over to Makoto real quick because he's stealthing his way through wherever this is in the Genma world with his big ass handgun, which I'm sure is very loud. So I'm not sure how stealthy he's being. But we now come back over to Takaru, as the Gemma more or less holds all the souls hostage. So he has to give up all his icons, and Igor takes them. So, and fucks off immediately. So Takaru now has to fight the Genma in only boost, which he proceeds to win because it's boost. It's not out of date just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
But the rider kick he does knocks the Genma back to her senses, and she just releases all the souls and is just like, "We will fight fair next time," and then leaves. But back to the machine, Takaru, finally taking Edison's advice, more or less just meditates and clears his mind, and that allows him to just disperse into the portal and just show up on the other side.
Because that's how portals work.
That's also how meditation works, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, he's now in the Genma world now, and we kind of end the episode with checking in once more with everybody. But the important things are the king is still doing his chanting stuff in the prayer room, while Sage is gathering all of the heroic icons around a totally not a belt. It's supposed to be a bigger icon, but it's just a belt. Which takes us to episode 22, Conspiracy, Adele's Trap. What trap?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking on that title, what trap?
Yeah.
You mean his coup? It's more of a coup.
Even by the end, what trap? The fact, like,
So,
to be fair, even the thing he does, there's no real trap to it.
no, not really. It's just a coup. Anyway, we check in with everyone real quick, see where everyone's progress is, and we even get to see where Makoto's body is. In a pod. Somewhere next to another pod, which I assume was Canon's at one point before her body went poof and she was stuck in an icon.
I mean, is that the actual case, or was her soul what was in the icon, but her body was in one of those pods? And then when Takaru made the wish, it went poof.
I don't know. We never see.
I feel like that's the answer, but I might be wrong.
We never get into it, and it never matters. So
Yeah, pretty much.
anyway, checking with Igor, he punishes the Genma again for not doing her goddamn job, and he tells her to fucking go do your goddamn job. And I'm not even gonna brainwash you this time. Just go fucking do it. If there's ever been a Genma that should have turncoated and didn't, it's this Genma who just keeps getting shit on. Also, why do you keep telling her to do it? Why don't you just go get another Genma?
Because she's the monster of the arc.
Apparently. Meanwhile, Takaru has to go fight some goons untransformed and dodge one of the Grendels before running to another location in the Genma world. This is where, cutting back to the team, QB gives us some background on the king, of being like, oh, he's a supreme ruler and stuff, and we have no wars and no death, and everybody's in an icon because that's how we survive in the world. And in the process, we check in with the king, only to see him murdered by Adele. And by murdered, I mean his icon broke, so he's not dead.
No, he's quote unquote dead.
Yeah. This is when Adele, since he's assuming the throne and kind of taking control of the prayer room, we see it react to that, and the monolith and in the basement reacts, and Sage knows this is like, ah, shit, something happened. Oh no, what happened? This is where we check in with Alan, who decides to go fight Takaru because when he was fighting the goons and stuff, he tripped the alarm somehow. I guess the Grendel went and rang the alarm. I'm not sure on that one. But yeah, so Alan proceeds to fight Takaru, while Adele more or less just goes, "Yeah, Father's dead" to Alia, and Alan did it totally. Believe me, I can show no proof of this, but Alan did it totally. How honestly believable is that?
I mean, apparently pretty believable. He keeps telling the story and no one's called bull on him.
Apparently. This is when we check back into the real world and we see that Kanon is off to see Grandma because Kanon doesn't get to do anything fucking important in this goddamn series besides just go around and talk to characters. Which is probably why I don't hate her. Because at least she's talking to people. Doing the one thing that half this cast refuses to do. But we see but Kyrie brings up the building for Deep Connect before because it's like we should investigate this, and QB more or less shows up. It's like, yeah, that's something suspicious because the scary man told me to draw it and I didn't like it. So, that whole not finding anything was kind of pointless now. This is when we see Makoto drop by to see Alia, say hi, catch up. And she tells him, it's like, yeah, Alan's been framed for murder. Maybe you should go look after him, please. While we see Takaru proceed to get his ass handed to him because now Boost has expired and is no longer useful. So Takaru runs away after getting his ass handed to him, and this is when Alan goes to catch up with Adele, who then proceeds to break his icon because, Fall Guy can't talk, so might as well make him human in the process. And Sage proceeds to pick up his stuff for safekeeping, I guess. I assume he wants the heroic icons, but why does he pick up the rest of Alan's stuff?
Reasons?
Just to put it back in the weapons locker, I guess.
Maybe.
So checking in with the team, they're off dealing with the Genma now, while Alan wakes up and now he's fully human instead of fully icon. And this is when both him and Takaru end up seeing Adele's speech on the big screen to all of the Genma, being like, Alan's a traitor, he murdered the king, you must capture him so we can execute the fuck out of him. So that's not looking good for him at the moment. Checking back in with the team, they're holding their own against the Genma, except for QB, who's doing fuck all in this. Because what would QB do that would be important besides, I don't know, maybe draw something on the Genma to fucking distract them or something,
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. Anyway, back over to Takaru, he finds a bunch of people in pods, which he kind of rightly assumes at this point that they're kidnapped people. And he ends up seeing one of the bodies disintegrates. And he also gets a flash of their life, more or less, as they're disintegrating. And, he rightly also, as well, flips the fuck out about this. Because, I just saw someone disintegrate in front of me. I don't think I'm good. And I also want to make a point that no one helps him address this point for the rest of these episodes. No one. Not a single fucking person helps him deal with this.
I mean, why should they? It's not their problem. I swear that's what it feels like.
So anyway, Takara has to go fight more goons, but we cut away from that fight to see Adele be confronted by Makoto, who wants to fight him. So they fight, and we also see the new Genma advanced goon form with Ultima that Adele takes, which, proceeds to kick Makoto's ass. But checking back in with the team, we see that the Genma decides, I'm just going to wait around until someone with a rider belt shows up to fight me. So they're just waiting around for the rest of the episode. And checking with Makoto, we see, he's getting his ass handed to him by Adele. Go figure. Go fucking figure. But Takara manages to make the save real quick. But 2-on-1, there's still no match. And Makoto more has to blow one of his finishers to, trap Adele for a hot second so they can run away and hope he doesn't pick the direction they ran from. Or they ran. So this is when Takara and Makoto end up in the weapons locker, and they find all the icons. And Alan even drops by to pick up his stuff. And they end up taking all the stuff back, and Takaru also takes the giant icon belt because fuck it. Might as well. But when Alan shows up, Takaru is, rightly pissed at him because it's like, you're supposed to be a perfect world and shit, and it's fucking someone disintegrated abroad. What the fuck's the deal with that and stuff? And we get no answers on that.
And never will.
Nope. But they finally make it outside, and while they're fighting goons, Alan ends up opening a portal for the three of them to run away through. So they do, and they end up on the other side. Alan's knocked out in the process. Makoto's fairly banged up from the previous fight, so they end up in front of the Genma in the team, so Takaru now has to fight the Genma, and he proceeds to beat it soundly in one try. And when Alan wakes up and sees all this, Makoto's just like, Takaru's a good guy, and Alan's just like, fuck off, I don't care, I'm leaving. And then we see Adele wakes up Jabel and gives him the Ultima icon to be like, go murder someone. Unfortunately, it's time for a form change, so Jabel has to job out to it again, because that's his job. And we end the episode with Takaru meditating on the events he's went through so far. So how'd you feel about the 2/3 of this 3-parter?
Too many cuts, not enough info.
More or less. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. We get nothing except a fancy new belt, and that's pretty much it. Makoto doesn't even do the thing that I thought he was going there to do to start with. No, he just goes there to talk to people and fight one of them. But that'll take us to our second half, starting with episode 23, Intimate, the Giant Icon. So Jabel just drops from the sky in Ultima, because he's got orders to kill Alan. So he's going to go do that without a fucking qualm about it. Even though I thought he liked Alan, and the last time we saw him. But, oh well. But things are fairly normal with Inari making business cards and stuff for the investigation until Takaru, who, bear in mind, he is trying to find a solution to a problem that is way too big for him at the moment. Because, he's kind of freaking out and no one's really helping him. So he wants answers on how to stop the Genma world from coming over here, how to fucking do anything at the moment. And of course he goes to QB because of course he had answers, but no, QB too stupid. He don't know nothing. So he goes downstairs, frustrated by this, and there's Sage doing his normal fucking, oh, look at me being fucking flippity-doo-dah and all that shit. Aren't I a kooky crazy old man? mucking about with this giant icon thing that I totally don't know anything about at all. Surely not. And, he's not helping at all, even though he knows that Takaru is fucking freaking out and it's scared. But once more, nobody wants to tell Takaru a goddamn thing, even though they clearly can. But at this point, in talking with Sage, he lands on the fact of, wait, we have 15 icons. I can make a wish. That's what I should do. Because Sage just tells him, you should be connecting the souls of the luminaries. And I'm like, we have bigger fucking problems than that shit, Sage. We have a fucking whole other dimension invading and stealing people's souls. I'm sorry. Takaru is actually thinking of the bigger picture at the moment and trying to solve the bigger picture problem. So more or less, Takaru lands on the idea of, right, we have 15 icons, we can just make a wish, and that wish is going to be fucking cut off the Gemma world. That's it. Solves all our problems. Outside of Makoto not having a body anymore, but... we can have a conversation about that. So Takaru heads off to go find Makoto and Alan so he can get their icons. And this is when we cut in with Makoto, who's, I guess, trying to win over Alan again with food. Which, goes about as well as you can expect it to be. So this is when Takaru jumps by and he's just like, hey, we need the icons to do the ceremony so we can make a wish and cut off the Gemma world. Which not only is Alan not wanting to do, so is Makoto. Without having a conversation about this. Nobody's in the mood to do this besides Takaru. And I am like, what the fuck? I can kind of understand them. I can understand Alan because he's like, fuck you, kid. And I can understand Makoto being like, can I at least get my body first? Outside of the fact I didn't get my body at all last episode, or last 2 episodes. But, no one wants to talk to Takaru about this. And they're just like, no. And this is when we find out that the people in the capsules are the people from the Genma world. And Alan's like, oh, they don't die, they're perfectly preserved. And Takaru's like, bullshit, I saw one of them fucking disintegrate. What the fuck is up with that? And Alan has no answer to that. Because of course he doesn't. So, what the fuck? And before we can go any further, or Makoto can actually divulge information about the Genma world, because that's what Takaru needs right now is information, Jabel shows up. And he wants to fight. So he decides to fight Alan, and Makoto hops in to help Alan, and Takaru proceeds to go, fuck him, I don't want to fight. Which is selfish, but considering everybody's practically abandoning him left, right, and center, I don't blame him. Consider for a second what their previous conversation just was. I want to stop the bad guys from invading and stealing people's souls. No. Not, can we think about this first? No. Can we talk about this? No, just no. So I don't blame Takaru for going, fuck him. But at this point, all of the heroic icons on Takaru leave him, once more showing more people abandoning Takaru. Because nobody wants to help him and talk to him and talk him down from the extreme he's think he needs to go. So Takaru's not in the best place now. But Makoto manages to make the save by getting Alan out of there with Houdini. So that fight's done. And I guess Jabel just ignored Takaru. We see that all the icons decide to go hang out in the basement. Because I guess that's where they want to go hang out. While things settle. This is when we see Takaru go hang out on the shore somewhere. Because, again, nobody wants to talk to him. Nobody wants to help him. Everyone's kind of abandoning him. And he's just like, fuck this. I'm just gonna go hang out here because, what am I gonna do? At this point, all other icons are gone. I can't do anything. I'm just gonna go hang out for a second. Checking in with Makoto and Alan. Alan does not appreciate the save that Makoto makes. Makoto's like, I believe in you. Like, you could be a hero, more or less. But Alan's not buying it, so he just leaves. Back over to Gemma World. Not Sage says he'll help Adele understand the power of he's inherited from like the prayer room and that stuff. But Alia's just like, you can't trust him. He's a friend of your father's. Meh. Which, is just one of those, she's trying to confuse the situation so he doesn't get into the prayer room, because that would be a bad thing, but that's not happening. Over the Canon, she's hanging out with Grandma, best character of the series, when Alan drops by, and Grandma continues to be the best character by more or less handing out like proper advice to him, being like, you're a good kid, man. You're weird, but you're good. Maybe you should follow your heart. Echoing his dad's words. And this is where he gets to experience takoyaki for the first time. And he's kind of happy, only for Javel to show up and want to fight. So Alan now has to fight Javel again. We see Takaru continue to more or less feel abandoned by all this when the team catches up with him. And he's just down and out. And Makoto decides that instead of telling him anything about the Gemma world, since, he's got experience with that, nope, I'm just going to punch you, tell you I'm disappointed in you, and leave. Thanks, Makoto. That's exactly what Takaru needed. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, this is when Kanon proceeds to drop by and be like, hey, Javel's filing Alan, you might want to go save him. So everyone heads to the local quarry, where Alan's icons proceed to leave him because they now have a will of their own and aren't being controlled by Alan. So they just fuck off and leave. So Makoto's the only one left with heroic icons now. We see the two of them try to fight Javel. But that's not very successful because, Javel is really powerful. And Alan's broken out of his transformation and just kicked down a hill. And he's more or less on his last leg. And Makoto proceeds to protect him and ends up taking the killing blow. So his icon's blown up, which leaves him alone in the Gemma world now. And his icons fly off to join the others in the basement as they're more or less just waiting around for something. This is when Takaru, more or less fed up with being put into the corner, decides, fuck it, I'm going to fight something, because I guess that will make me feel better. So he proceeds to fight Javel in Ore, and doesn't have much success. Tries Boost as well. Not helpful either, and gets broken out of that one. But his determination more or less wins over the icons, who are nowhere near this fight, as they proceed to leave the basement in their park of forms, taking the big icon with them. Show up to save Takaru. Say that they are all with him. All fly into the big icon belt, turning it into the Grateful Driver, and Takaru then proceeds to use it to go Grateful, and rips straight through Javel, proving once more he is the ghost of jobbers. But before he gets blown up, one of the plates from the prayer room teleports to the real world, and fuses with Javel and powers him up. But that doesn't help him. He still gets blown up anyway. So when Takaru gets out of his transformation, the two icons that have been with Alan go back to him, because I guess they're taking pity on him. And Takaru's in brighter spirits, even though he's learned nothing at all whatsoever, outside of being blindingly optimistic and hoping everything is okay. Still knows nothing. None of the concerns he had at the start of the episode have been answered at all. So, great. Just great. Which takes us to episode 24. A completely different episode than the 3 episodes we've just covered. Appearance, the mysterious warrior. So we see a rat-faced monster hiding out in some little kid's tent, shooting quills into people and turning them into, or like turning people into, or no, he's sucking people into quills and taking them for some reason at an amusement park. Spoilers, he's not a Genma, he's from Shocker. Spoilers as well. This is a tie-in for the Ichigo movie we're not covering for like 2 weeks. So the next day, the team recaps matters with Takaru, because now he talks about like the stuff he's gone through, because people actually ask him about it. And he wants to get to Makoto back as quick as possible because, I saw someone, disintegrate a pod. I don't know if that's going to happen to Makoto sooner or later. We should probably get to the Genma world as soon as possible. Again. Excuse me. And we see him in his pod, and he's still asleep because I guess wake-up protocols are different for everybody. But Adele's eyeing him for reasons that I think I know and are incredibly dumb. And we'll get to them later. Anyway, we see that Alan is still beat the shit from the previous episode, and he's trying to recover as best he can. Back over the team, Kanon ends up suggesting to Takaru, hey, maybe you should ask Alan for help since, he's from the Genma world and he's kind of our only lead now since I don't have any memories from the Genma world because, I was an icon for most of the time and apparently that affected my memory. Thanks, Kanon. Still useless. God, poor girl. I say that, and then she proceeds to be the MVP of the episode. Anyway, Takaru doesn't trust Alan because, well, everything from previously. But Kanon decides, fuck it, I'm gonna go talk to Alan and see if I can, get him on our side. But this is when the monks hop in, or drop by, to once more be the bearers of a monster attack happened. Because they informed the team of the rat-faced monster, which apparently prompts Goemon to go take over Inari, because stuff with his history in mythology. More or less he's here just to showboat and hog the screen time. So they all head to the amusement park, and Goemon's more or less trying to teach Takaru the lesson of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then every other analogy you can put it to that. More or less, you should team up with Alan. It will probably be good for you in the future. But they find a monster in the kid's tent, and Takaru proceeds to fight it with Goemon. And this guy is A+ jobber material because he doesn't get anything in this fight. He is chopped out clean as a fucking whistle. And the only reason he gets to survive for a second fight is because he gets jettisoned into the sky a la Team Rocket from one of those rocking boat rides. Meanwhile, we check in with Alan, who's hiding from the Genma and is now feeling the fear of death for the first time in his life. So he's having a good day. Thankfully, Kanon's there to patch him up and to have a conversation with him. Unlike some people in this cast with certain characters. But back in the Genma world, Adele wants information on the prayer room, and Not Sage is happy to tell him everything, because whose side are you fucking on, Not Sage? Fuck's sakes. Anyway, after he kind of got vague information, Adele heads to his dad, where he's got him locked up somewhere in the Genma world. We're not really given good geography on how this place is laid out. They're more or less just a whole bunch of despondent rooms that people just go to. I'm not sure where they are in this network of nonsense. But he goes for info and gets nothing for his trouble. Meanwhile, back over the team, they're fucking about, more or less waiting for the monster to show up once more. And they didn't think they found him, except he used his tent as a decoy. Except he's been fooled because Yamato from Zoojer shows up. to lend Takaru a hand. And he makes mention of the fact that Takaru helped him. So if you're watching along and confused by this, and I mentioned this, should have mentioned this earlier, more or less, in the episode of Zooter that aired the same day as this episode, Takaru appeared and teamed up with the Zooters, the core 3 Zooters, I believe, for an episode. And that happened before this episode. So that's why Yamamoto's here to pay him back for the help. So now the two of them team up. Takaru once more using Grateful because gotta show off Grateful. And they job out our good Chakra Monster. Once more, clean as a whistle, batting him away in style and finishing him off. So he's done. And this is a great way to promote your movies by having a monster show up as a fucking jobber. Meanwhile, Kanon manages to talk to Alan and like kind of get through to him and just be like, hey. And actually like gets him to kind of want to team up with Takaru. So, like I said, MVP of the episode here. Meanwhile, but unfortunately, a bunch of Genma show up, so Alan has to go fight them while Takaru's busy with movie tie-in stuff. But after we more or less cut back and forth between all this, Kanon manages to make it to Takaru, ask him to go help Alan, which he decides to do, and he pretty much goes Grateful, and shows off the fancy feature of the Grateful Driver, which is to summon the icons in their human armored form. We saw them in a couple episodes ago, or saw them in last episode, and they can fight with him. And then he summons Goemon and Robin Hood, and they more or less clean house on the Genma. So now Alan and Takaru are ready to talk to each other, and they're going to go team up and go find Makoto and save him next week. Just in time, I finished recapping the last 2 episodes. So how did you feel about these 2 episodes? Okay, we'll split this up. So, how'd you feel about the last part of the 3-parter? Since we're dealing with 2 very different things.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement.
Yeah. I am of the feeling that...
I don't know how to feel of it.
I don't think Takaru's wrong for anything he did this episode, outside of the fact of him just saying fuck it and goes fighting Javel at the end. Because nothing he did was wrong. It just, no one tried to talk him down from it and just told him no. Which is my entire problem with it. Because I feel like this is a culmination of no one talks to Takaru about anything, no one tells him information, no one gives him all the backstory stuff. So,
yeah, I could see that.
But I like Grateful. I like the mechanic we got in the second episode where you can summon the heroic icons to help him.
I think I like the mechanic, but I'm still not a super fan of the suit. Like we've had worse.
Yeah. I'm still confused on why this required a brand new belt in show, mind you. I understand toy form wise why this needed to be a new belt. I don't know why this needed to be a new belt in show.
Yeah, don't get into that.
Because I don't know if this could work, but I have a solution to make this not a different belt and more or less just the Ghost Driver, but upgraded.
I mean, to be fair, there's an actual easy answer that could work without having to have an upgrade period.
Yeah.
Have a not blank icon that's purpose is to house all of them to be together.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing as how they all come flying to combine into Grateful's belt as it is, why couldn't that just be a case of they all fly into the Ghost Driver?
That's exactly where I was going. Was Takaru is in boost. All of the icons fly into the eye like the Parkas do to create the icons. And when the icons all go in, the Ghost Driver is swapped out for the Grateful Driver. It just transforms into it.
I don't think it should be tied to boost, though.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be tied to boost, but I'm like, considering Takaru got boost and had the whole thing about connecting the luminaries, it's like one of those, oh, this is linear progression, I guess, is my thing. He could just be an RA and do it later on.
Well, I don't even think it should be based on one of the forms he has.
Yeah.
I think it should just be its own thing.
Yeah. So yeah, how'd you feel about the fourth episode? Our tangent episode.
I mean, kind of more just meh.
I love how our monster that's meant to get us excited for the movie is a complete jobber and is a non-threat the entire episode.
Yeah.
I don't get how this is meant to make me excited to go watch the movie.
Because, I mean, you get to go watch a movie that has a bunch of jobbers.
Apparently. I like that Kanon proved useful by talking to Alan, which is the one thing like half the cast doesn't do. Which is a rare statement I get to say about Kanon. Of like, oh my god, she got to do something useful. That's not very often for her, unfortunately.
Yeah, not at all.
So, yeah, this... also, how'd you like the tease for the Genmisers and it proving how pointless it is?
Yeah.
And I will say this right now. They will be a hard enough threat that Takaru will require an upgrade in the Mugen in order to beat them. And I'm going to put beat them in quotations because yeah, there's a problem with the back end of the show when it comes to its villains. And it's a problem we have with X8 and Build. Only much, much worse. Because you know how we had one villain that was apparently indestructible?
Yeah.
No matter how many times we blew him up? What if we had like 16 of them, more or less? Yeah, the Gamizer's practically indestructible, even though Takaru has the power that's specifically made to blow them up. But no, still indestructible. Because fuck you. So yeah. Anything else?
Nah.
I have to check the watch list real quick. I'm pretty sure it's another batch of episodes.
It is.
Fuck. Oh god, it's 4 weeks to each go. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. How bad is it that I want to watch that movie?
Oof.
So yeah, it's more episodes of Ghost next week. It's just remember, it's all coming back slowly. I'm just like, fuck, now I remember why I dropped this show. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Because I'm starting to see all the seeds for it. I'm just like, oh, fuck me, why? But yeah, that's next week. Usual palette of stuff this week. So if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away that follower goal. At TG Saloon on Twitter. We'll get you get you updates on when we go live. Exclamation point Discord and chat. Gets you the Discord link. Drop by. Say hi. Drop us a question in the Dropbox. We'll answer it here or on TGS, whichever is more appropriate. But for Tommy, peace. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.